Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Marissa Salazar, Product Marketing Manager at Microsoft for Microsoft Teams. Thank you for joining us, Marissa.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you've got something new to announce today, some new features for Microsoft Teams, but we'll step back for 1 second first and just talk about Teams a little bit, telling people what it is and what's been happening in the midst of this pandemic with just about everybody working from home to some extent.
Sure. So Microsoft Teams, if any of your listeners are not users, Microsoft Teams is essentially the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365. So it really brings together all of those tools and experiences that every team and every person needs to get things done. So this, you could think of it in a corporate setting, so working with several different teams on different projects and separating your work that way. But you can also think of it in an education setting, classrooms full of people, teams full of teachers and educators who need to plan and coordinate for the school year, and so on and so forth. So it really spreads across the modes of work and school and life, but it brings all of those tools together in one interface. And so that's how we think about Teams.
And the new features that you're unveiling here are some interesting things to enable those meetings to look, I guess, a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. So this pandemic, that we're all still in, has spurred a lot of development over the last couple of months. That's been really exciting. Mostly, our mode of meetings has changed quite a bit over the last couple of months. We are all, behind our computers, pretty much at our homes, individuals, joining meetings all day, and that is very tiring. We are tired ourselves. A lot of our customers are tired and kind of feel overworked and over-fatigued by meetings. So a lot of these developments are aiming to improve that meetings experience and make it more engaging and more help people actually feel more connected, even though we have to be apart right now.
So tell us about the new features here that will accomplish some of that.
Sure. So one that I'm very excited about is a feature called Together Mode. So Together Mode is essentially a new mode for video meetings that helps people feel more connected. So in a typical meeting, we all turn on our videos and we're kind of separated by a grid view. We're all in our individual squares. What Together Mode does is it uses this really great AI segmentation technology to just take the people and place us all together in one shared space. So what I mean by that is now we're not separated by the grid of our video feeds. It looks and feels like we're all sitting together in, for example, an amphitheater setting. And so, one of the things that I'm super excited about Together Mode, yes, it's a cool thing to look at. It's interesting to see us in a different scene, all sitting together, but it actually helps make meetings more engaging. It helps people focus on each other as people and not just video feeds. And it helps, presenters understand visual cues, social cues that their audience might be giving back to them. So, it was really born out of the need for, reaction and human connection, and I think it really accomplishes that.
Now, people have been able to create backgrounds or use backgrounds, photos, things like that, and so you get a mishmash often of people with their individual backgrounds if they choose to, these virtual backgrounds sometimes. But what you're doing is giving us a common background. Is that one way to put it?
That's the perfect way to put it. Yes, customized backgrounds I think still have their place. It's wonderful, but what Together Mode does is puts us all in one setting together. So it removes pretty much the distraction of a background entirely, and makes us feel like we're sitting in the same room.
And how many of these different settings does Microsoft have available in this Together Mode, or is it something that customers can create?
So at launch this month, we just have one setting. It looks sort of like a school or kind of a corporate amphitheater setting, which is really lovely. We are developing several more to be released, subsequently. Things like a conference room if, there's a formal presentation that needs to be had or a formal discussion. Things like a study hall for education settings, or something like a coffee shop that helps make us feel a little bit more comfortable in our scene. We've done a bit of research thus far, and we know that the setting itself has a lot of effect on our mental state in the meeting. So if we're in a coffee shop, we can be a little bit more relaxed and informal with our colleagues than if we're sitting in a formal business conference room.
And with some background sounds, people calling out for a double latte or something, they could do that too, I suppose.
Exactly.
Lots of fun, and I'll suggest a radio studio background too, but that's just me. So this is rolling out immediately. When is it available?
Yep, it's starting to roll out now, and it will be available to everyone by the end of August.
And tell us about the implementation of Cortana for voice commands with this technology. You're doing some new things there too.
Yes. So Cortana is coming soon to the Teams mobile app. So the Teams mobile app, which is an incredible companion to Teams, when you're not behind your desktop. But basically what it does is it uses AI and the Microsoft Graph to provide voice assistance. But it's now able to tap into Teams. So it makes it a lot easier when you have your hands full. You can just ask Cortana to make a call, join a meeting for you, send a chat message via Teams, even share files with your colleagues. So let's say you have your mobile phone and you're driving or your hands are occupied. You can say, hey, I want to share the quarterly update review with a certain colleague. Cortana will understand what document you're referring to and what colleague you're referring to, even if I, perhaps only use their first name. So it's a really incredible voice assistance that I think makes Teams even more powerful.
What do you want your customers to know or consumers to know about Microsoft Teams when they're considering which platform to have their video conferences on? Obviously, lots of competition out there today, Zoom, Google, others as well.
Sure. So the experience that you get in Teams, and this is what we really try to get across with our customers and potential customers, is really holistic. So it's not just about video meetings and calling. It's not just about chat and file collaboration. It's not just about customization and workflows. It's about all of those things. When we are working on a team and trying to get things done, you need every element and you need every aspect and you need to be nimble. Every team is different and every day on a team is different. And that's why we think Teams is so powerful to, enable every different type of team. So many of the developments in our meetings experiences in general, and there's a couple of other really cool ones beyond Together Mode coming into Teams this month. It is all about giving our users control over your experience. We are not here to say what the ideal meeting experience is for anybody, but we want to give you those options. So another development coming to Teams this month and kind of as a part of this announcement is something that we call Dynamic View. And basically it's, hey, of course we believe that traditional video meetings can be, more engaging and dynamic than they already are. So we're bringing even more sets of enhancements that give you more control over how you experience a meeting. So let's say you want to look at the video feeds of everybody coming in individually. Maybe you want to focus in on one person in particular. You want to make sure that audio participants show up just as dynamically as video participants. Maybe you want to customize how your presentation shows up and how it fits in relation to the video feeds. There's all sorts of preferences and ideal scenarios for different types of people and different types of teams, and that's what we've really built teams to address. So it's about customization. It's about giving you the tools that you need to have the best team possible.
What about interactions between the participants when there are people speaking?
Sure. So there's a lot that goes on in a meeting that is nonverbal, and we're very aware of that. And how do you recreate that phenomenon when everybody is remote and everybody is joining virtually? So one of those things, shows up in together mode. Okay, we can see everybody a little bit better visually, so we can understand their body language and nonverbal cues. But what about when there's a bunch of video feeds and somebody's talking and you want to react? We're introducing reactions into Teams itself, so live reactions to what people are saying. People might be familiar with this concept from other kind of social platforms, but when somebody is sharing something and I think it's really exciting, I can click on my live reaction so it shows that I'm applauding or I'm agreeing or maybe disagreeing with something somebody says, and I want to raise my hand. So raising hands as a visual cue that I want to speak in a very crowded meeting is extremely important and helps us be more inclusive of all participants. And then things like chat bubbles. So if we have several participants at a meeting, we're all possibly familiar with the chat experience that goes on tangentially to the meeting. Sometimes somebody might say something like, "Oh, I'm running late. I'm going to be 10 minutes late to the meeting," but it's hard to stay aware of everything that's going on at once. So now we have chat bubbles that can show up live during a meeting, overlaid over the meeting experience, so you're not super distracted. So a lot of these developments that I mentioned are really about giving you the right visual cues in as subtle or as obvious a way as possible that makes sense, so that we have kind of a more comprehensive view, even though we're only getting video feeds from other people.
What should people know about what platforms this is available on and the costs involved?
Sure. So all of these features that I mentioned are all a part of our core Microsoft Teams offering. So across all SKUs or ways that you purchase the product, and across all experiences. So whether you're on Windows, whether you're on a Mac, whether you're on the web or in the desktop client, these are all things that show up for you.
So for more information on all this, where is the best place for people to go?
So for more information, the best place to learn is at Microsoft.com/Teams. We have a lot of information there. You can sign up for free or sign into your Teams account if you already have access and learn about all of these new features as soon as possible.
Again, it's Microsoft.com/Teams. Marissa Salazar, thank you for taking the time with us.
Thank you.
Now this. How many companies out there have continued to innovate when it comes to building a better radio? I'm Fred Fishkin, host of Techstination, and I'm here to tell you about the new CC Skywave SSB radio from the wonderful people at C-Crane. Bob and his crew really love radio, and it shows in this new compact model that is packed with features. Beyond great AM and FM reception and sound, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world, listen to ham radio operators, aviation, and more. It's the radio you'll turn to every day, and in emergencies. It will run for nearly 3 days on just 2 AA batteries. Pair the sleep timer with the new Soft Speaker 3, and you've got the perfect radio for your nightstand. Of course, it can wake you up too. Click on C-Crane at Techstination.com and put in the code Techstination for a free flashlight with your order. They love radio, and you'll love C-Crane.